Lorrie Morgan, our special guest in the studio. 5 minutes. What's up?
Hey, it looks like you're just happy as you can be today.
I'm just rolling with the flow.
You
And I
know
got
what?
you in the studio. It's
I
good.
know, and I love it. I was here with you another time, and
Yes.
we had a great time.
Pammy was here too.
We always have a good time
always
when
do.
we're together. It's not always.
So, but we're just wait because we're about to get a little truth serum.
Okay.
going.
Yeah, there we
Sure.
go.
I'll
Let me
take
get
some-
Tracy some
All right.
whiskey.
Yeah, give me a little bit of whiskey.
And then
All right.
We're
Now,
having ocean.
our audience
Have you
knows
ever-
that we drink whiskey here on the show,
Uh-huh.
but
Yes, we
we
do.
know that you prefer tequila, Miss Lorrie.
I
So
do.
we brought this little tiny bottle of Patron that I
I
found.
just hope it's enough.
So
Is that
there
enough?
you go.
That's fine for now.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's a way
Somebody
to get it
must have
started.
got into my tequila.
They did. We just had the little bottle.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
can we cheers?
Salute,
Yes, ma'am.
absolutely.
Cheers.
There you go. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you're the first guest to ever drink tequila on the show. We drink whiskey.
We
Oh,
talked
I
every
last week. We had
love-
Johnny Lee, and Patrick filled his glass up about half, and Johnny looked at him and said, "You saving that for somebody else?"
My husband can tell you, tequila is my favorite thing. I mean, and I drink wine, as you know.
Oh, yes.
Because it's more mature and, it's more ladylike. But truth be known, tequila is my choice.
And that brand is my favorite.
I know.
Now I like it in
It's-
the freezer. I like it.
I
when
do
it's
too.
cold.
We do too.
Yeah, that's the
We
way
do
I like
too.
it. Yeah,
Colder the better.
absolutely.
cold-
And
Older
you
the
know what
better.
I learned one time? We went to Mexico, and long time ago, and they had a tequila tasting
I love
thing
that too.
that night. And so I'd never been, and I love tequila. Well, our American way of doing it is shooting tequila.
Oh, they don't do that.
Oh, no. We got in to this really nice place, and this guy comes around with a tux on and this big cart of all these tequilas, and I'm like, I don't know if we're in the right place or not. But anyway, we got our first shot, and we just slammed him back. He said, no. This is like fine wine to American. You sip tequila. And I have sipped tequila ever since.
There you go.
And that's how I used to drink Daryl Singletary, under the bus. He said, how come I can't see and you fine?
Because I'm sipping and you're shooting. That's
right.
the difference.
That's right.
So we got a whole lot of stuff to talk
Okay.
about. I know you've moved again. You got new music.
Yes.
I just want to know everything that's going on.
Okay.
Okay.
You just tell me where to begin and I'll start.
All right, we'll come back and talk some more with Lorrie Morgan. This is Honky Tonkin.
In studio with my friend Lorrie Morgan. Radio serious. Yep.
Oh,
Got
we
that
serious now?
radio voice,
So what you got going on? You
Well-
recording new music?
I'm getting ready to go in April and record a new album
Awesome.
with my friend and your friend Buddy Hyatt.
Nice.
Yeah, and Buddy and I have known each other for a long time, and I just kind of felt, and I know you feel this way too. It's time for a change for me. I mean, I'm not competing on radio per se. I just want to give the fans and people who like me something different to listen to besides a competitive radio song.
And it's different, isn't it? I was just
Uh-huh.
having this conversation with Terry Clark not too long ago about after getting to a place where you feel like you're closing the chapter on this stage of your
Yeah.
life, or closing the book even.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not doing the radio thing. I don't feel like I'm competing with anybody. What is it that I really want to say musically that my hands were tied from before? Where
Right.
do I want to go?
And that's where we're at right now. And I've got some great songs, old Mickey Newberry songs, and things
Nice.
that a lot of these young people don't have a clue.
So did you go back through some old catalog
Oh,
at
you
Sonny
know I
Tree,
did. Oh,
dug
yes.
around the vaults a little
Yes,
bit? Yeah.
and see, I used to be a receptionist at Acuff Rose, where
Oh, yeah.
Mickey Newberry was a writer, and so I got to do a lot of Mickey Newberry demos for him. Wow. And he taught me a lot about writing, and you can learn more if you just sit back and be quiet.
So did you dig some old Harlan Howard out, or Hank Cochran, or any of that stuff yet?
Not yet.
I mean, there's some stuff.
I'm right.
deep.
I'm right in Mickey right now, and oh God, I forgot the other name. Tequila must be working. I don't know.
Sonny Throckmorton stuff.
Sonny Throckmorton.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, I'm
Yes.
glad you brought that up. But I am going to do an old Haggard
Awesome.
song as well.
Cool.
But I'm doing some new stuff that's never been
So,
heard.
what kind of section are you cutting with? Are you stripping things down? What's your
Some of the
strategy?
songs will be stripped down, and some of them won't.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be raw.
And you know what I did in the last couple of projects I worked on was really, everybody's so caught up in doing this 3-minute song. I stretched some things out, added some other solos. And you gotta fight. You gotta fight people over. It's like, I'm not sending this to radio.
No.
I want to stretch it out. I want to be, because I'll do
And
that
you
in my
want-
live show.
That's right.
Why can't I do in the studio what I'm doing to it once I get live?
I
anyway?
totally agree. It's like when we first released Something in Red, it was over 4 minutes long.
Yeah.
And Joe Galante, who was...
Cut it down.
he was like, you know what? I don't give a damn. We're releasing it to radio. It's that great of a song. If they want to play it, they'll play it. If they don't, they don't. So it was like one of the first over 375, whatever, minute song that they played. So I'm going to do it again.
That's a good thing. Let's play some old stuff. Here's Lorrie Morgan. We both walk.
Okay, we talked about Something in Red a minute ago. You said it was over 4 minutes long.
Right.
That is I know this was your second big album, right? Something in Red. But that is my first memory of seeing you on the video channels. And that video with you with all the different dresses and stuff, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, that had an impact on me. I was just a little boy, but it had a real impact on me.
His
I was
face
like,
is getting red,
I
Lord.
don't know who she is, but I like her.
But you know what? We did a video, the original video. We did it out in L.A. And because Joe Galante didn't want it literal, red, green. He wanted to do something just off the wall, and it was so bad. It was so terrible of a video that when we came back, he said, all right, scratch it, and we're going to do another video. And that's when we did the one up on where I used to live, up on the hill and in the red dress.
Oh, yes. I remember very well. I'm just saying, it's one of those things where it was a striking image because you are a very beautiful lady.
Thank you.
And that image of you and all the different dresses and stuff, and it
Well, and it
really
was
made the
fun.
song,
Yeah.
I remember hearing the song and thinking, what a great, did you find that? Was that an old song?
And I'm going to tell you what. They pitched me that song 3 times.
Really?
And I turned it down. Because
It's got to be the
well,
right
you
time.
know why? I thought I never let it get past like the third verse. I said, nope, it's going to end in black, and I'm not going to be poor pitiful widow.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. And so Joe Galante called my best friend at that time that was traveling with me, Ruth, and he said, I want you to lock her in the bathroom while she's in the tub, slide the CD player in there, and push Something in Red and make her listen to it all the way through. This was like 3 years after the first time they pitched it.
Wow.
And I was bawling by the time we got to the end of it. So
it didn't end, even on the demo, it didn't end with that, right? It
No.
ended, okay.
No, it ended all positive. It's just, you're married.
24 years.
We
yeah.
all women go through the change of your body. I mean, our body changes every year. And this is just a woman saying, look, I'm just a size larger than I was last year, even just after the baby. And we're conscious of that. And so a lot of women and men really related to it because women get very self-conscious of ourselves.
So, Picture of Me, old George Jones song. You said you've got a great story.
I do. You know, I don't know if you know this, but I used to work for George. I was one of the Jones boys.
Really?
And when Ron and I were first married, Ron Gaddis, who used to play bass for George, they were interviewing or auditioning female singers to sing with George, the Tammy parts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there was about 7 girls one night, and Ron said, why don't you come in and audition? I said, I ain't going to get no job with George Jones. I can't sing like that. I can't sing like George. Well, I went in. I was the last one that auditioned, and I got the gig, and I worked for George for probably 3 years. I was out on the road with being a Jones boys. And unfortunately, I was with George when he was the No-Show Jones days.
I've heard some
And,
stories.
oh, my God, I could write a whole book. But I will tell you, and I want to make this known publicly, as crazy as he was in the stories you hear, he was always such a gentleman to me. He was so kind to me and protective of me. And he'd give the boys hell out there. But he never said...
he'd give Tracy hell when Tracy toured with him.
He never say nothing to me. But, what was I going to say about Picture Me? Golly. Anyway, so when I left the George Jones show, I recorded a Picture Me Without You one day with my ex-producer, Richard Landis. And we were getting ready after the lunch break to record a Bill Anderson song called It's Different With You, which I still want to record. Great country song. It was a big Mary Lou Turner song. If you're familiar with Mary Lou Turner, she was Bill Anderson's duet partner. Mm-hmm. And we were coming back from lunch, and we had it down. I mean, we were going to do It's Different With You. Well, we come back from lunch, and in walks Nora Wilson.
Yeah.
And he said, Hoss, I got something you got here. Looking at Richard, said, I got something you got here before you cut that next song. Well, Richard was never a country music buff. He came from New York, Pennsylvania, and all up in that area. So he heard Picture Me Without You for the first time when Nora Wilson played it for him, which scratched Bill Anderson's song.
Poor Bill.
Oh, my, yeah, bless his little heart.
Kids around the world.
Yeah. And, but anyway, that's how Picture Me came to be. We scratched It's Different With You and changed the charts and recorded Picture Me Without You.
Our in-studio guest, Miss Lorrie Morgan.
All right, Miss
So
Lorrie.
we're fixing up.
I had tequila just for you, but she said she wants to try our whiskey.
Well, I just want to, and I mean try, because I'm not a whiskey drinker.
So this is Ocean, and what they do is they put each batch on a ship and send it around the world, supposedly.
Yeah, Jefferson's Ocean, and this is aged at sea. This was voyage 17. Tracy trying to get some more over here.
So the premise of it is to send it around the world, and by the time it gets back, it's every batch is a little bit different because it's been aged.
You know what? This is the end of this bottle. So
Cheers.
we just finished this one. I don't see how.
It's pretty good.
It's very, very good. So it's a and this is not a paid sponsorship.
No,
we
that's
just drink
a really
what we have.
good whiskey.
Really good whiskey.
I'm not a big whiskey
very
drinker,
smooth.
but I might be after this.
See? We can get you hooked. That's how it works. Lorrie was making fun of me because I have 3 glasses, one for me and Tracy each, and then I have a nice one that I bring in for guests. Well, we put tequila in your glass.
Yes, and it's a lovely crystal glass.
Yeah, that's right. And then she wanted to try the whiskey, so I had to bring in this little red solo cup.
Solo cup.
And she said, "That's why. You don't have enough glasses?" Well,
Bless their hearts. Folks, send them some glasses.
We're the poor and downtrodden up in
Listen,
here.
ain't nothing wrong with drinking your whiskey out of a red solo cup. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So we were supposed to meet up earlier today and do a little bumper. You've got a song that I participated on called HotChicken.com.
Well, you were
Hot
awesome.
Chicken, Nashville Hot Chicken. That's
Nashville
what it was.
Hot Chicken, yeah.
And I appreciate the fact you put me on the opening line.
Well, you're one of the best singers country music has, and I'm not just pulling your leg, and I'm not. I call you in the middle of the night and say, you're a singing SOB.
Do you really call him in the middle of the night?
Yeah, and usually it's
Like
about a bottle of that in.
It's a big bottle of that.
Look at
my husband.
Yes, she does.
My husband would tell you, when I hear something comes on the radio that gives me chills, and I'm like, God, what a great singer. What a great moment this must have been in the studio for Tracy, or some of my friends that have passed away. Bless Joe Diffie's heart. He'd say, hello, Morgan, and I'd be like, but seriously, you need to be told.
Absolutely.
You need to be told you are a singing SOB because you are. And so when my brothers and I wrote this jingle and everything and it's not for my restaurant because I don't have one anymore. It's for how popular Nashville Hot Chicken
it's taken over
has
the country.
become.
Yeah,
they even sell it in New York,
sell it
they
Kentucky
try.
Fried Chicken.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, They don't know the secret how to make it.
It's not the same.
It's not.
It's
and,
not.
and it's not in the spices, it's in the preparation.
Yeah.
See. And then we called Tracy, and he was, hell yeah, I'll be there. So we were supposed to get together today earlier to eat some hot chicken and take some fun pictures of everybody, but a lot of people are out of town, and we just couldn't get together.
So can you eat now? Princess, what's the top one? The hottest one?
Extra hot.
Can you eat it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's
no level you can't. You can't.
There
I
was
can't
one
do
that
it.
we sold at our restaurant in Panama City Beach called I can't remember what it was called.
Randy showing us a message that just says, "You're a singing SOB."
I sent to you. It was called Explosion. And
yeah, that's what happens the next day.
And I'm gonna tell you what. That's right. As 400 degrees in Nashville says, it don't burn you once; it burns you twice.
That's right.
So
that's what Boudreaux say.
that was a tough one for me to get down, but I did. I there's not. They don't make them too hot for me or my brother or Jesse. I love it all.
I will take a break right here and cool off. We'll be right back. More honky talking after this.
Tell you what, I'll listen to Johnny Paycheck songs all the time, and I'm one of those goofy people who get in the car, and the first thing I do is go put on the oldies country station. And
do you listen to anything besides country music?
Oh God, yes.
Really? What's your favorite outside stuff? What do you?
Randy will tell you I listen to weird stuff. I mean, I listen to Andre Bocelli and Astrud Gilberto and
you like hair bands from the 80s or anything?
No.
No Van Halen.
No, I do. I do like them. Yes, of course I do.
Okay.
And I like all kinds of music. I like everything from the opera. I can't. It kind of makes me a little anxious. I have to turn it down. But I like Gregorian chants. I love Gregorian. Have you ever heard the Gregorian chant of Stairway to Heaven?
I have not.
OMG.
Well,
It's incredible.
do you like Zeppelin?
Of course I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. My brother turned me on to all the Moody Blues and Zeppelin and, all that stuff. And Cat Stevens, all those kind of groups when I was, or guys.
So the Gregorian chant, that's Catholicism kind of falls right
Yes,
in
it
there.
is.
So y'all get a lot of that indoctrination into the all that stuff. Yeah.
But, have you ever tried to do it?
No.
It's it's hard. It's difficult.
Flip Anderson taught me one time. It says, "My father plays dominoes with your father." That's about all I got.
Dominoes Cobiscum.
That's all I got.
I don't think that's it, Tracy. I don't think that's it.
That's all I know, man.
You talking about?
Okay, I just baptized you a Catholic.
I'm in. Hey.
What happened to my tequila? Oh, there it is. Randy, good luck taking me home.
Randy, you did drive,
I'm sorry,
didn't you?
brother.
Okay.
He knows it's going to happen. If Tracy's around, he knows it.
Tracy and I are bad influences on each other, so it doesn't,
Hey, look,
right.
Hank Williams, Farron Young, all those guys, Porter, Little Jimmy Diggins, Roy Acup, they had fun in country music.
They'd play the Opry at the Ryman and go across the street
Oh,
to
my
the alley
God.
to Tootsie's, and now they get on to you about doing that.
Well, you know what? They do and they don't. Because I have a locker at the Opry.
Yeah.
Next time you're on and I'm on, come see me.
I try to
and
sneak my stuff in my guitar case, and they make me go through the metal detector.
Do you have a locker?
I don't have a locker. I'm not
Yes,
a
you
member.
do.
I'm
He's not a member.
member.
I know. You want to do something about
Are
that?
you freaking kidding me?
I'm not.
Wait,
I
give me
know.
my hanky back.
I'm not.
Tracy,
No, I'm
that's a sin.
I'm telling you.
That's a sin
Hey,
against country
you
music.
and me, let's try to talk to somebody because I've been.
Do you want to be a member of
Yes.
the There's a big difference.
Yes.
And he plays it all the time.
Well, I used to.
Well, we got to get you a locker.
I know.
All
I
right.
need a locker.
All
That's the lady that can get it done right there.
Does a fishnet shirt come with it? Because that's what I want to wear in Opry next time.
Okay, yeah.
Go back to the 80s and I'll put the mullet hair.
I
the
think
hair
that'd be
wig
great,
on.
and it'd be your last performance.
The great Willie Nelson. I guess he's back on tour since COVID's all over and done.
Are you
Yes.
kidding me?
He's 89. He's back out there doing it again.
I kept telling my manager, Tony, please make sure I'm not on tour when I'm 65. I've only got a little ways to go.
Please, man, for the love of God.
I'm going to tell you right now,
Tracy's
Tracy's going to still be out there because he's going to miss the bus.
You know, go out and sleep on the bus.
I just stay on the bus. If I have to get the elevator to get my walker up the front steps,
You know, I have a problem with my right eye, and my band has to help me on and off stage and down the steps of the bus, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm really old. I'm losing my eyesight. I've got
They got to help me off the bus.
My leg hurts. The only time I'm happy is sitting on a stool on stage, singing.
I want to ask you about the Opry. I know you must get these kind of questions all the time, but when I hear old country songs, I think about when I was young or when I first heard those songs. But for you, how many times do you hear something on the radio and go, I remember hearing somebody sing that on the Opry when I was a little girl standing on the side of the stage?
You know, I listen to all radio stations, period. And so when I hear some of these classics, I know where I was. And, you know, you can hear an old Tex Ritter song, and I can tell you right away, I was sitting on the little bench they used to have at the Ryman for family, right on stage. Connie Smith songs, Barbara Mandrell songs, the Browns, all the chapel bells are ringing, and I remember those days.
I was thinking about
there.
the Opry House, but you're right. I mean, you were. It was.
I was at the
Ryman.
I was at the Ryman, sitting watching Marty Stewart play with Bill Monroe. Do you remember who? You know who Louis Roberts is?
No.
His dad was Caton Roberts, and he was a steel guitar player, and he played with Hank Snow. And Louis was a Marty Robbins freak and could sing just like Marty Robbins, and he was awesome. And I can remember sitting, listening to Louis Roberts, having kind of a crush on him. Okay, I was a young girl, 12 years old back there, and Louis about 14, 15, out there singing, "Don't worry about me." And I'm like, oh, God, I've got to marry this guy. But no, I know exactly where I was when I heard all these songs.
In case people don't know, your father was an Opry member.
Yes.
And so you were there a lot just with him.
I was there every Friday and Saturday night with my dad, George.
What was it like with Minnie and Patsy? And so you grew up to become a famous country singer, but did you see that when you were a kid watching, Loretta?
Well, I
and
dreamed
Minnie
it. I dreamed it. I mean, that's what I wanted. I wanted to put those beautiful shoes on and those dresses on, and I wanted to walk out and, sing what I wanted to sing. And of course, that was my dream. But, being back in the girls had one dressing room back when I was at the Opry, at the Ryman, and it was the bathroom. And it was a slanted floor, and you walked in, and the women looked like they were crippled because they had to walk in there in their high heels. And I remember going in their clothes, hanging, and smelling their clothes and their perfume. And I mean, I was kind of a stalker, maybe. I don't know if my dad knew it, but I remember everything about the Grand Ole Opry that most people can never forget.
See, I never saw the back of the Ryman before they did the big renovation several years ago. Now there's, you've got a few dressing rooms downstairs and then the upstairs and everything. And none of that was there.
You have an elevator.
Yeah, I've never got.
There was no elevator.
Yeah, there's none of that.
There was no air conditioning, right?
So there was, and the female acts on the show just had to stand around if they weren't going into the bathroom and change clothes.
Exactly
You just had
right.
to hang around.
That's right. There was like two. I think if you're looking out to the audience, there was like two men's dressing rooms over to the right and one women's, which was the women's restroom. And boy, I have got a story about Jeannie Pruitt, but I can't tell it on the air.
All right, we're going to play What Part of No. Here's Lorrie Morgan. She's going to tell us that story, and I'm sorry I don't get to hear it.
I used to run around with Hal a whole lot in the early 90s when I first got started. He had some great stories. He was
awesome.
He was awesome. One of the things, I'm out, Clay Walker and I started a tour, and we're out, and we created this medley. We've lost so many people over the last 2 years from COVID. So we're doing a medley of Kenny Rogers and Charlie Pride and Joe Diffie and Charlie Daniels.
Oh,
And it's bringing the house down. It's
oh,
absolutely
I
bringing
can't
the house
imagine.
down. I just feel like, even everybody didn't go from COVID. Some of it just was what it
Yeah.
was, but it was, we still lost a lot of people. And me and Joe were close. I talked to him when he was down at your house before he came back before the whole thing, and it just broke my heart. He's just gone way too soon.
Well, there's so many of them, I mean, even, Mel Tillis
Yeah,
and people that that were they were so distinctive,
absolutely.
distinctive singers, songwriters, and performers.
Yeah.
And we don't have a lot of great, and I'm not saying we don't have a lot of great singers. I'm saying we don't have a lot of great performers, that people that make you laugh and make you feel, and they don't just stand up there and sing, but like Mel Tillis and
Mel was such a
oh
character.
my
When I would go
God,
to
he's
Florida, he would,
hilarious.
and I never understood why, but he was so cool to me. He would come see me when I was down close to
You know
like
why?
within an hour.
Because he loved
And he
you.
would just come hang out on the bus with me and spend a lot. Most time he wouldn't come to the show, but he'd come hang out with me
Because
for a
he
little while.
loved you, and that's
He was
how Mel
cool to
was.
me.
Yeah.
And I've got relationships with a lot of those. Johnny, I talk to Johnny Lee all the time. Mo Bandy and Joe Stampley are my friends.
I get to see Mo Bandy a lot at a Christmas party every year that Randy and I go to. But, and when I got y'all's invitation to come to the Halloween party, of course, I was working.
Yeah.
And but those are important things
They
that we
are.
stick together. That's like the old country music used to be.
I miss it, and I before I came to the radio show today, I don't go down Music Row very much, but I took a couple of laps around it, and it breaks my heart because it's all condos and office buildings, and the character that made Music Row what it was is gone, never to return.
No, there is no music.
It's not the same, and I loved that was so much of the charm. We were this little bitty town in just right here in the middle of this big old city, and it's just gone. It's
And
just,
I remember back at Cedarwood Publishing Company, back years ago, sitting around with Webb Pierce
oh my gosh,
and
there
Glenn
stands a glass.
and Glenn Campbell,
Oh my gosh.
and sitting in these back rooms. Me, young girl, they were all sweet to me, and nobody ever disrespected me because they loved my dad.
Yeah.
But I would be sitting there while they were writing songs, and I was like, who am I to be sitting here?
But what a
That
great experience
doesn't
to grow up with
happen
that.
anymore.
Just the stuff that you got to soak in had to be amazing.
It was amazing. Life on Music Row. I used to skip school. Listen, I went to an all-girl Catholic school.
Okay.
And I used to skip school right after roll call in the morning. I'd get in my car, get my pack of cigarettes, and my best friend Ruth, and we'd take off. We'd go down to Music Row. I had my guitar in the back, my dad's old Grammar guitar. And I'd go to every record label down on Music Row with my school uniform on, okay? Smoking in the lobby with a Catholic school uniform on, saying, I can sing, I really can, I mean, that was all Music Row to me. I would go to all of these places, and I wasn't scared to walk in. Today, buddy,
You
wouldn't.
can't get past the guard
Oh,
anymore.
hey, I wouldn't. No. But that's what, that's the country music I grew up on. And backstage at the Grand Ole Opry, when you'd hear Roy Acuff and Archie Campbell and my dad and the Willis brothers and all these guys laughing and talking and pulling jokes on each other. Now, if a bigger star's on the Grand Ole Opry, you better watch out. It's going to be roped off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go ahead, rope me.
I'm having a good time today.
Me too.
All these good old stories. I love to hear all this stuff. So are you back out on the road doing dates and stuff yet?
March has been my kind of off month. It's a really bad allergy month for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm telling you, since we moved back here from Florida, my allergies,
They're so bad.
I mean, it's like a total drip that just follows me around. I'm like,
And
what?
everything's starting to bloom
It's
again.
terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Florida was just different. I didn't have this in Florida. But we moved back in October, and since October, pretty much I've had this allergy thing. So we've kind of made things start happening again in April. I've done a couple Opry things in March, and a couple shows I've done, but my allergies have been so bad I can't do a whole show. So we're coming back up on April pretty strong.
Are you going back out with you and Pam, or are you just doing solo
We
stuff?
do
That's
have
good.
a few dates with Pam and I. As you know, it's called Grits and Glamour.
Yes.
But we've changed it now. We've changed it because now we go on stage. You know, we getting old, right? Okay, we old. So we get tired, and they go, well, you go on at 10, and I look at Pam, and I'm like, 10? I'm already in bed with a bottle of wine.
Tracy told me this. We had this same conversation 2 weeks ago.
I'm in bed. I'm going to bed at 8:30 or 9.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm done.
Tracy said he had a show and it started. Told him he went on at 11. He went in the morning.
I don't know.
Y'all, I'm telling you.
you.
You know, and since COVID, whatever happened, we're all weak from not.
I know I don't have any stamina.
No, we
I
don't
just
either.
Can't, and I can't seem to get back in the groove.
Me too.
I just can't.
Me too. And things are just weak. Okay. And when I say things, I mean everything is weak. So Pam and I decided that this year when we go out on tour, we're calling it the Grits and Glamour Pajama Party. So, but for those up north, it's called the Grits and Glamour Pajama Party. So, but we got our pajamas made. Just seriously.
Y'all can wear matching pajamas on stage?
We go on stage. Well, not matching.
Oh, okay.
But we both have our set of pajamas with little bow feathers on the sleeves, our high little slippers, and she brings the martinis on, and I bring
That
the
helps.
tequila on. And when we're done, we're like, let's hit the bunk.
I got to tell you, a merch idea, Miss Lorrie. Y'all sell pajamas at merch. Get pajamas that say Grits and Glamour Pajama Party and sell pajamas.
That's
a
excellent
good
idea,
merch
Patrick.
idea.
Wait till I call Pam.
Yeah.
All right, see? That's all I
Thank
want
you.
is credit. You don't even have to give
I'll
me
give
a cut.
you
I'm
credit.
just-
All the
that's it.
credit you want.
So you know who had that idea? I can't
That's
remember his
good.
name, but this big fella does a radio show with Tracy Lawrence.
But don't you feel, honest to God, when you work with somebody or you do a show with somebody, you feel lighter, you feel better, you feel like somebody else is out there sharing the load and blah blah blah. That's how I feel with Pam.
It helps a lot.
Oh, it does a
Tell
lot.
That's what Clay and I are doing. We merged our bands together, and we come out and we do the first 4 songs and banter back and forth, and then we split up. He'll do 3, I'll do 3. So it gives me a chance to take a break. He's
Exactly
feeling the same
right.
way too, and then
'Cause
we get
we
back
old.
I know, and I've lost a step. I mean, I can't. I have, you know, and it's
I know.
and really and truly, I didn't feel that way till I hit COVID, and then taking that year off.
Honey, I
getting
know.
back in the groove has just been so.
It's
and
terrible.
everybody that I talk to
And you know,
says the
me and
same
Randy,
thing.
we talk every morning. I hear him out in the kitchen, and he hears me getting out of the bed, and we're both going, oh. Oh. And that used to didn't mean that, you know.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You got a working title for your record yet?
I don't.
Don't.
I mean, I do, but I don't. I'm not ready to
Not sure
say
about
it
it yet. I got you.
because it's such a hodgepodge of songs, and I'm not really sure what I want to call it because they're just different. They're just
That's
songs
good,
I
though.
love. Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
And make them your own. And it's time to get back to a place when we record stuff. We should be excited about going out there and
Exactly.
playing every bit of it live.
exactly.
I want that back.
Me
because
too.
I spent too many years cutting 3, 4 things and then having a bunch of stuff that I just really didn't care about.
Me too. Can I ask you a question? Do you ever use your band in the studio?
I have. I did a gospel album several years ago, kind of a Southern gospel album called The Rock, and I used my whole band on it. And we got a Grammy nom for it.
You know, nobody knows us like our own band. I mean, my band are my best friends.
Yeah.
And they get my breaths, my emotions. They can hear it in my voice, and I want to do a few songs, quite a few songs on this new album with my band because I think they deserve that.
I understand. I've used mine on several different things over the years.
If people are listening that don't know, a lot of times in Nashville, in country music, you use session players, studio
right.
musicians,
The ones
the
who play on
A-team,
everything.
the guys who play. Yeah, so it's.
Now I
because-
did. I'm telling you, I did. I did put a section together when the last 3 or 4 records that I've done. that was pretty powerful, some studio guys. And kind of, as Julian and I were talking about what we wanted, I kind of hand-selected certain people. I knew I wanted Brent Mason. I knew I wanted Aubrey Haney.
Well, I love Brent Mason. I mean, I have a crush on his music.
He's bad.
He is so... Where did he come from?
I don't know.
I mean, my God, he just dropped in and just...
Took over.
Yeah. I mean,
everything.
he did. He did.
Yeah.
And, but anyway, I don't know. I don't know what the name of the album's going to be, who's going to be on the album.
But it's going to be good.
But it's going to be
good.
Damn
Be on the
good.
lookout for it.
And we're going to be, Buddy and I are meeting next week with my manager, Tony, and we're going to get down to the part of the eliminating song thing. That's always the tough part.
Yeah.
But got to be done.
In studio with my friend Lorrie Morgan.
I asked Lorrie if it was okay if we play this next song and if we talk about Keith Whitley, because I didn't want to put you on the spot and just come out with it. But, you know, you were married to Keith Whitley and when he passed. And, you know, every year, we're not supposed to talk about this. Tracy and I will deny having talked about it. But every year we hear about who's up for the Country Music Hall of Fame. And that conversation starts. And it's one of those things where I go, you know, I understand that Keith didn't have a long career, but has there been anyone more influential in the last 30 years?
No.
Not in our eyes.
No.
Not in my eyes. He was a huge influence on me.
You know, how many fans he has? I mean, it's more than mine and a few other people I know put together. Because, I mean, it's not just fans, it's singers.
Absolutely.
It's entertainers who have been inspired by Keith.
Tracy says it all the time.
You know, I just think that Keith is, he's being recognized, but not to where he needs to be, not to the success that he needs to be recognized to. I mean, he was just a one of a kind. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to compare him to Hank Sr. or nothing like that, who had a very short career as well. Because if you ever met Keith, you knew he was a gentleman. He was so funny. He just loved life. He loved music. And he unfortunately just had a very bad addiction. And I have to say something. And if you will let me say this.
Absolutely.
My
it's your
husband,
show.
Randy, he loves Keith. And he's been so supportive of every time we have something major for Keith. That a lot we have a lot. We have the Keith Whitley Memorial Ride every June, and then we had the big Keith Whitley show at the Hall of Fame. And anytime anybody talks about Keith, he's right there. He's like, he was the best. He's the greatest. And I have Keith Whitley awards all over our house. And Randy is just, he knows my children. That's their dad. Mm-hmm. And he's just a big supporter of Keith. And
that can be tough for a man,
course.
You know. But
I've often wondered, you know, if the shoe was on the other foot, how I would feel as the woman. Mm-hmm. And it would be tough for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's...
I'm going to raise a glass to Randy now.
He's
in the next room
listening.
Bless you, Randy.
Randy and Puddin'.
Is there anything you want to tell us about this song before we play it, Till a Tear Becomes a Rose?
I would love to. You know, Joe Galante called me after Keith passed away, and he said, "Hey, we want to do a duet with you and Keith. We want you to go in the studio like."
Wait! I didn't know. Are you telling me you recorded this after he was?
Uh-huh.
I had no idea.
See?
Wow.
See what a big bag of information I have. Well, that's what I said, and Garth Fundus, who produced the record, it was all Keith and Ricky Skaggs was singing the harmony and everything. And Joe Galante called me one night and he said, would you consider doing a duet with Keith? I said, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't want people to think, oh, here she goes, just, you know,
right.
Trying to ride on Keith's coattail or whatever. I said, I just don't know, Joe. I said, I need to think about this. And so then Garth Fundus called me and asked me about it, and I gave him the same answer. And after a couple weeks of thinking about it and praying really hard about it, I thought, what would Keith tell me to do? And he would say, Lorrie, get in the studio and sing with me.
That's what you do.
And I did. And so it was after Keith passed away that I went in and put my vocal on, doing the harmony parts with Ricky Skaggs and doing, part of the
that had to be hard.
The verses. It was really hard, and there was a couple stop times in the night. But Garth Fundus was such a great producer. He was like, Lorrie, you got this. I mean, this is great. And Keith would be so proud. And so that's how it came about.
This is a different whiskey. This was one that was sent to me by our friends at Pickle Jar Live.
So Pickle Jar is an app that you can sign up to as a band, and like when you're out playing shows or whatever, you want to make a contribution as a fan, you can log on to Pickle Jar and you can tip them. It'll go directly to the band. You can make charitable contributions through Tip Jar. So that is our sponsor here at Honky Tonkin. Tell them a little bit more.
Pickle Jar, and also if you're a fan and you want to find out more about music, who's playing in your town, what's going on, it's a live music app, it's a tipping app. It's going to become like another social media just for music.
We love tipping apps.
That's right. So just go and check out Pickle Jar, and you can download the app on iTunes or Apple Store and the Google Store. Look for Pickle Jar Live.
Special in-studio guest, my friend Lorrie Morgan. So you and I had a chance to work in the studio. It's been several years ago. And the coolest thing that I remember about this session when I came in was that everything was done live.
That's right.
The band played live. There were no overdubs. You had every player in there. All of our vocals were done live. It was all done on the spot, which was extremely cool.
You know why it's cool? Because that's how country music used to be.
That's right.
They didn't have all these ways to make corrections and all this stuff. I mean, there was a song my dad recorded on an album with an orchestra. They recorded it 17 times.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
But that's the way it used to be.
Big orchestra and all this stuff. And
damn cello players.
How many takes was this?
One.
What? You guys did this in one take?
It was one. It had to be. It was all
Okay, let's listen to it, and then we'll come back and see how it sounded.
Okay.
I never got to meet Conway Twitty. I did not. But I heard some really cool stories about him, about his little AMC spirits that he had a whole collection of. You ever heard that story?
The what?
He had these cars. Remember these little AMC Spirit cars that had the bubble hatchback on them? They said he had like 7 of them, and that's all he would drive around. He had like one of every color. That's what his attorney has told me over the years, that he was really, had his little weird, quirky things about him. I never got to meet the man.
Wow.
Did you?
Yeah.
Was he quirky?
I didn't know about those cars. I would have asked him about them, but no, I got to open for him a couple times. And
did he make him swoon? Did he get down there and growl?
He was like, "Hello, darling."
Hello, darling.
And the women would go, oh, no, I loved him. Oh, my God, I love Conway. I didn't know about his, little clown cars. I'm
See, you learn stuff. See, we learn stuff. You learn stuff.
I'm kind of concerned about it, so I'm going to look it up. But, no, I loved him. I just loved him. And then when he got the new look, with the
pompadour
little
or whatever that was. Yeah.
After the pompadour, he got the fro thing, and he was like really
I've said
hot.
it before. I will say it one more time. Just go and Google Conway Twitty baseball cap, and no one wore a baseball cap like Conway Twitty.
He did
it on top of his head.
And Conway could get away with sexual innuendos in a song more than anybody else in that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he could sing stuff that was like borderline nasty.
Yeah, and Loretta told me, it's probably been 15 years ago, she said, darling, honey, you need to write some more cheating songs. Just like Conway and I used to do. There ain't nobody singing no good cheating songs no more. And she's right.
I know.
Because people are paranoid. They're
Can't
all
do nothing.
Paranoid. I mean, we're going to sing nursery rhymes coming up. I don't know. But anyway, I loved Conway. I did. I really loved him. I worked with him quite a bit. I got a chance to work with Loretta a few times, and that's my dad's era, and it's emotional for me to work with those kind entertainers, but they were entertainers.
You know, my mom's told me when she was carrying me, when she was pregnant with me, she was in such a happy place, and she listened to all those old Loretta Lynn records and all the Conway stuff. She's really, and she's going to the Louisiana hayride before she got pregnant, of course. But then she told me, Mama, you know, all the stuff we know about Mama these days. She told me she said if I had been born a girl, my name was going to be Loretta Lynn.
Well, that's my name.
I was Loretta Lynn. So,
well, look at
and
that.
I've told Loretta
right.
that
Do you
too.
know that?
Did you? Yeah, that is your.
No,
I do know
that is my legal.
What would I have done?
That's right. Y'all
If
would
you
both
and
be
I were
We're both
Loretta
Lynn.
Lynn's.
How weird would that be? Yeah.
I mean, that's weird
That's
because
pretty weird.
my dad started calling me Lorrie when I was just a little girl, but my driver's license, my birth certificate, everything is Loretta Lynn.
Wow.
Well, here we are.
Here we are.
Can I just say, because I know Tracy's going to say it, but I
did not
have to
know
say
that.
it. I had high expectations for this show, but you have exceeded them. This has been so much fun.
Honey, thank you.
Next time I'm going to bring more tequila so we don't
More
run out.
tequila, and
Thank
we need to
God.
get Pammy on the show.
This little bitty
that
stuff
didn't do anything but make her mad.
is, you know, that did
That's
nothing but
amateur
piss me
stuff.
off.
Thank you for being here. Always good to see you, my
I
friend.
love you.
Miss Lorrie Morgan.
You know I do.
I love you too.